Welcome to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Get Unbusy podcast. My name's Kate Philpott and I am your host today. Listen, I know that a lot of us out there were like, I would get it all done if I just had more time in the day, if I only had more hours in the week. But actually that probably wouldn't solve your problem. If things are already feeling like you're going from this thing to that thing to that thing to that thing, like what you actually need is more intentional energy themes. And if you are in that chaotic kind of season where you're going from like client work to admin to errands to content to recovery to delivery to the gym, and like you are literally going from all these different types of activities, it's time to listen the fuck up, okay? You are probably feeling all over the place, frazzled, and like you can't possibly get anything done. So when every single day is a messy swirl of like mixed priorities, your brain goes like basically it's just question marks. It's like, what mode are we in right now? But when you assign themes to your days, that's when you start kind of working with your flow a little bit more. And I will explain this in detail. I will say creative entrepreneurs are often torn between freedom and structure. Like you want freedom, but I'm telling you now, with more structure, you will get more freedom. And we probably got into this business because we wanted freedom. So let's explore this concept, right? The concept being themed days. I'm going to share 4 monthly themed days that make business feel smoky for me, smoking hot, and like it just gets you into the whole focus of that theme on that particular day. And listen, in case you didn't know already, task switching can waste up to 40% of productive time compared to focusing on just one task. So let's explore this, right? I will say, disclaimer, I have wanted to incorporate themed days into every single week for years. I know in terms of productivity, it's a great idea. For example, keeping one day a week for everything that's being recorded or filmed, and then one day for client calls and one day for admin and, all of that. In reality, that's kind of not how things work, at least on a weekly basis. Like the fact that I've known for years that this is a great way to operate and I've never been able to actually make it work just shows that maybe it's not the best strategy. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to set a few themed days to occur just once a month, right? So rather than taking up every single one of your work days in a week, you can have regular work days most of the time, and then you can still benefit from the mental clarity and the depth and focus of an entire day for each of these things throughout the month, okay? Okay, I'm all excited now that I'm like building up to this concept. So instead of trying to be on for everything every day, you're going to end up creating space to be fully present for one energetic theme at a time. And you get to fully live it and you get to fully embody it, okay? So let's start with our first themed day, and that is the systems creation day. Now, okay, I'm gonna start this one off with a very sexy systems creation day. Maybe this doesn't seem sexy to you, but I'm gonna frame it that way, and I'm hoping to change your mind in the next couple minutes. So, what if I told you that you could create so many systems in a single day that it saved you 10 hours every single week? Would you want to do it? You would very easily have more time freedom. And it's also not even beyond the realms of possibility when it comes to systems creation. So Sure, maybe writing an SOP isn't that fun, but the result of that SOP is having a few extra hours back each week, and that is definitely fucking fun, especially when you use it intentionally. That is literally how you get more out of your life. That's what my entire brand is built around. So this is about design and freedom. You cannot design freedom into your business without systems. Because then everything in your business will just rely on you showing up, your time, your energy, your cognitive load, all of which are limited, by the way. And it's not that you're not ambitious at all. It's just that you're using up your high ambition time on low impact work. I do mean SOPs, checklists, AI, GPTs, like, I already said checklists, templates, things like that, which are definitely not exciting at face value. Okay, I get that. I do. I know that more than anyone. But I want you to see this as like, hey, every system you create gives you mental real estate back. For example, the email pre-processing SOP. If you're someone who gets a lot of emails, that can be pretty overwhelming because there are things in there that might be requiring a reply. Some things might require action. Some things might just be newsletters that you want to read at some point, but like not necessarily today. Some things might have really important like tax information or, you know, your receipts and invoices and stuff like that. Some things might be customer support related. Some things might be urgent. Some might not. So going into the flabberdabber of that is a recipe for disaster because your brain function going in is being pulled in so many different directions and you have to make thousands of micro decisions for such a low impact task. And you have so little cognitive capacity in each day anyway. Well, not that little, but like it can be very easily eaten up when it comes to admin tasks like this. So let's say you have an email pre-processing SOP. We have one in the Systems Hub in Work Smart Academy, and that basically just makes a lot of your decisions upfront. Like if this word, for example, urgent is sent, that it gets put into this folder, and that's always the one that you check first. That's the one you check every day, maybe multiple times a day. I recently set up an automation where I also have a label in my Gmail called requires action. So if I get an email and it doesn't really need a reply from me, but it needs me to actually do something, I will put it into that. And the automation is that it creates an Asana task for me when I do that, which is, I was like, oh my God, this is genius. So like, otherwise I would have been like, I'm either going to do this now or I'm just going to leave it there unread and flagged, like, and hope that I come back to it at some point. There's a better way. I don't need to do that because I work out of my Asana. I don't work out of my email. So anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But this results in a shit ton of cognitive capacity being saved. And that is what I mean when I say getting your mental real estate back. So a few hours of system setup equals hundreds of hours saved later. So whenever you're looking at your tasks and you're like, how can I do this in a way that's easier next time? And you actually have a strategy for that, whether it be an automation or a template or an SOP, etc. The systems creation day is the day where you actually set up that automation, that template, that SOP. So this is going to give you so many fucking hours back. You have no idea. And there's really something to be said for the first SOP you create. That feels absolutely fantastic. And you don't even know that feeling until you've done it. I am going to also look the bear right in the eye. Is that a saying? I don't know. I'm going to address your resistance here because I sense that as I'm saying this, there's resistance coming up. For a lot of people there is, because most people do resist systems because they are boring or because they think they're going to add too much structure that it's going to kill your creativity or your freedom. I shit you not. I have gotten my creativity back because of my systems. Because I actually have space now to think deeply and go into this whole world and get into flow, knowing that I don't have like 15 little admin things to do afterwards. Like you cannot be in flow if your brain is busy remembering like 52 admin steps. So it literally creates space for spontaneity. It's not just structure for structure's sake, okay? So I want you to write this next piece down or put it into your Yapp app, which is, if you don't have it already, it's basically an affirmations app that gives you random notifications during the day with personalized affirmations that you put in, okay? The more I automate, the more I can actually live my dream life. Write that down somewhere, you will see it. The more I automate, the more I can actually live my damn life. Okay. Okay. For the practical side of things, just block out a couple of hours, get music, snacks, get coffee, make it a vibe, and it doesn't have to be crap, you know? Like, if you really need a boost, you can tell yourself, okay, if I create 3 systems, then I can go out and get my favorite coffee. If I create 5, I can get a little pastry too, right? And then, like, create your systems imperfectly. I will say, I often run my systems like SOPs, templates, even GPTs through a review process with AI. And I basically ask the AI to aggressively review the system for like bottlenecks or parts that could cause frustration or confusion or anything that's unclear. And that has been so helpful because it means that I don't have to waste my brain power trying to get it perfect the first time. I just do like a rough rendition and then review it with AI, and then it fixes loads of things that I never would have thought of. So, pro tip for you there. All right, let's go into our next theme today. Now, this is your get your shit together day. Okay, so this is just a fun name for it because the original name I thought of for this, I was like, that is everyone's just going to click off this podcast because it's technically a life admin day, right? I know that also doesn't sound sexy at first glance, but basically it's the day where you stop pretending that the little things in life don't exist. And by the end of the day, I can guarantee you're going to feel like you have your shit together, which is why we call it the Get Your Shit Together Day. So this is a day where you clear the open loops in your brain that have been open for way too fucking long. Because when you are trying to run a business and a life, all those tiny unfinished tasks, they kind of eat away at your focus. It's like literally like termites. Your focus is being eaten away at constantly. That is also your cognitive capacity that we've got to protect. So the reason this matters is just as you can't be creative when you don't have systems and processes, you also can't be creative when you're haunted by the ghost of unbooked appointments and fucking unwashed laundry or unbought Christmas presents or like, you know, those life admin things that just pile up, and they do pile up quietly, but they drain your energy pretty loudly, honestly. One of the most common things I help my one-to-one clients with is decluttering their houses, because it's such an intense form of heaviness for so many people. This day is your reset button. This is where you're going to get to the other side and you're going to make life feel lighter again. And I am going to give you a list of things that might be in here, okay? So take note if this is something that you're going to do. It's not glamorous, but goodness gracious me, is it freeing? So paying bills, checking your online banking, getting up to date on your bookkeeping, booking health appointments, eye appointments, hair appointments, dentist appointments, all the fucking appointments, grocery shopping, or maybe ordering like the household staples that you keep forgetting, like the good coffee beans or the health supplements or like that thing that you know you need from Amazon that you just haven't bought in like 3 months, even though you know you need it. Doing laundry, folding and putting away the pile that's been sitting there for ages, donating a bag of clothes that's been sitting in your room for 3 months. I am absolutely guilty of this right now. And it's definitely been more than 3 months. Tidying the house, decluttering the miscellaneous drawer, finally wiping down your desk, returning that ASOS package that's been sitting there for a month, clearing random screenshots that have zero context anymore and are no longer relevant for your life, cancelling the subscription you don't use anymore, unfollowing a bunch of people who make you feel like heavy and crap, replying to messages that you've been avoiding because you'll get to it later, or even just sending the message to your friend that you've been meaning to send for ages, like that friend that you know you've been meaning to meet up with and you haven't messaged them yet. This is the day where you're doing that. And if you want to fold in some admin work too, that's cool as well, like clearing your inbox or invoicing or tidying your digital files. That's fair too. Most people dread life admin because it feels like a list of shoulds and like none of it is fun. But It is a massive form of self-respect to get through this. And literally, this is your get your shit together day. You have no fucking clue on the other side how good you're going to feel. Like, you're literally giving your nervous system a breather. Nobody's saying that you can't belt out the life of a showgirl while you do most of these things. So, just in case you needed that permission slip. If you're 30 years old right now, you've almost lived 11,000 days of your life. Without getting too morbid here, there is something to be said for taking control back of your own time. Nobody wants to get to 80 years old and realize that they never went on that 6-week trip they always wanted to, or they never wrote that book, or never made it to the level of visibility and recognition that they always strived for. And improving your skill of productivity doesn't mean increasing your ability to work harder and faster when you don't want to. That is literally the opposite of what I teach. Getting productive is what gives you the ability to turn a weekly 2-hour task into a 15-minute task, and to work no longer than 20 hours a week unless you deeply, deeply want to, and even match your tasks with the right energy level. So let me guess, you started this business to have freedom. The freedom to work from anywhere, for there to be no limit to the amount of money that you could make, and to not have to work a full-time job. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, how did this turn into a full-time or even more than full-time job? When you have your own business, you are the one who decides your schedule. But most of us were never equipped with the skill to make proper use of that, to minimize and automate the busy work, or to map out our weekly schedule to how we actually want to live. And in case you thought that you could hustle your way out of the overwhelm and the heaviness, all this is doing is reteaching you that hustle is the only way, and that you have to earn even 2 hours off on a Friday afternoon. And frankly, there's honestly never been a more important time to grasp your time back than right now, today, because every single day that you work in the old way of functioning, you could be clocking up tens, hundreds of future hours that you'll no longer have to work, because the admin is streamlined and processes happen automatically, and you no longer have to keep on top of 25 things at once. It was never meant to be that complicated. So even if one sentence of this is resonating, know that there is a reason for that. I've been where you are. I've found the way to a life that's productive and flexible and still full of passion and fulfillment. And that's exactly what my productivity membership Work Smart Academy will teach you to do. We have snappy 45-minute calls every week, alternating between planning sessions and business refinement sessions. You'll get access to binge-worthy trainings like automated money stuff, the master plan workshop, and how to plan your high-impact workday in just 15 minutes. There are new drops every month, as well as access to ask me questions directly each month so that I can coach you through your productivity roadblocks. And we've got an entire Q&A database with every single question I've ever answered in the membership as well. So you might even get to resolve your issue before you've even asked. You'll also gain access to the Systems Hub, which is a vault of done-for-you systems like SOPs, template banks for running your business, automations, and so on to reduce your workload in less time. And I've recently added AI prompts to help you personalize those to your business even faster. So that means you're getting your entire productivity and lifestyle transformation for only $37 a month. Need I say more? I cannot wait to see you in there and get you experiencing life and business how you've always actually wanted to. The link to join us is in the show notes below. And if you do think that the badass, hot, next level version of you is avoiding this kind of stuff, you've got another thing coming, because they are on top of it. Because they already know just how much headspace it gives them back. Yeah. So let's get into our third theme today. This is one of my favorites, I'm not gonna lie. Fiery Passion Day. Oh, there is nothing more soul crushing than realizing that you've put off the things that light you up for someday, only to wake up years and years later to realize that someday never came. We have honestly been conditioned to literally earn our joy, and to save hobbies or creative projects or game nights and stuff like that for when we've made it, or when there's time, or when the business is stable. But that honestly is a trap, because even when you hit the goals that you have right now, that's not going to happen, because you're going to have eyes on the next prize. So when do you actually get to enjoy your life? When do you get to tap into your fiery passions? It will always be in the later folder in your mind. You don't get more out of your life and build a fulfilling life by postponing the things that make you feel alive. This is probably the one that I feel most, ironically, fiery about. A lot of it comes from your energy and your creativity and your own personal fire, none of which can be in a good place if you're just like work, 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 work. Like, how, like anytime I spend a couple of hours on like my creative projects, like writing my novel or something like that, I feel so much more like a human. I feel so excited about life and so good that it makes me have way more and way better ideas when it comes to actual business. You can't like force ideas for business out of your ass. Like, that has to be fueled by something. This is a huge, huge part. So, yes, I'm saying this should be a monthly themed day where it's just like the whole day is focused on this. But if you can, work this into each week because it is just, oh my God. We have been so productivity trained that we think rest and hobbies are like unproductive. And then a lot of us have guilt attached to doing the things we actually enjoy, which is fucking crazy if you think about it. Like, what are the rules anyway? This isn't Joe Schmo's life over there. This is your life. You decide what to do with your time. We're literally on a floating rock. Who even thought that you would exist? And now you're going to like not do the things that you want to do because you're only ever doing the things that you should do? That is Depression City. Like, with all due respect, snap out of it. Okay. But even if you do need the reframe, okay, I will come at it from the other angle. Passion days are productive, just not in the output driven or like linear way that we kind of want them to be or are used to them being, right? So this day is about feeding the parts of you that a to-do list isn't gonna feed. So it's that like playful, expressive energy, the part of you that is like connected to your inner child and just like, I'm just doing this for shits and gigs. Like, it's just a fun time. None of it is wasted time. It is, honestly, this is an important point. It is essential maintenance for your spark, which is kind of beautiful. Okay. So I am also going to give you a bunch of examples for like what you could do in this day. Certain things are going to make your ears perk up. Other things are going to be like, nah, don't care about that. So whatever your ears perk up to, I want you to write them down or put them in your notes section right now. Okay. So painting, creative writing, poetry, journaling for fun, not content, learning an instrument, writing music, taking a camera out just to like capture beauty, not to necessarily post, going on a nature walk or a hike or a beach stroll with no headphones maybe, baking or cooking, something like purely for the experience. Bonus points there if it's like messy and just really playful and fun. You could do crafting, sewing, knitting, scrapbooking, any of those things that are like your hands are busy but your mind is calm, like coloring as well is one of those. Dancing, pole class, yoga, Zumba, any movement that makes you feel connected to your body again. Creating playlists, singing, reading fiction, not self-development, not business fiction, something that lets your brain wander. At the moment, I am reading Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. We love the spice. It's like I am flying through that book. And another thing is like learning something random that you've been really curious about. Maybe it's like pottery or horse riding or some language or whatever. Maybe it's going to a cozy cafe and letting yourself dream and journal or even just daydream, like just nice things like that. I do know what you're thinking. You might be like, but Kate, I don't have time for this. Great. So do the systems creation one first to create time. Also, this entire podcast is around creating more time. So even if you start implementing in short bursts, that will help. Okay. I can also almost hear you say, but Kate, it's not a priority right now. I've got all this other stuff that's a priority. Yeah, I hear you. And I promise you this, it will never be a priority. It will, why would it ever be a priority? Because it's not technically the direct path to your goals. So you will never see it as a priority. So are you okay with getting to retirement age and having never allowed yourself to actually enjoy your non-work interests that aren't just like going out and drinking? Also, passion is what keeps your energy sustainable enough to handle your priorities in the first place. I'm also sensing that some of you might be thinking, I'll do it when life slows down or when things like business slows down or things slow down. I'm telling you, life doesn't slow down. If anything, we just gather more responsibilities as we grow up. Like, you buy a house, now you have to do house stuff. You have kids, now you have to do kids stuff. You get married, now you have to do marriage stuff. So, respectfully, you're the one who chooses when to pause. And the irony is, your best ideas, your most magnetic energy, and even your deepest motivation are all coming from these moments. It's not ever a waste of time. Okay. I'm getting out of breath. I think about the people who spend 40 years. I think about the people who spend 40 years working for the weekend and then realize when it's too late that they've forgotten how to play. I fucking promise you that will not be me. And that will not be any listener of the Get On Busy podcast. Okay. I got really passionate there. Let's go into the last one here, which is the recovery day. So, firstly, you're going to start with the deeper why. Like, why do we do the recovery stuff? Okay. It is best to build in recovery before you need it. Because when you need it, it's not that it's too late. I'm not going to be the person who stands over here and is like, it's too late. But actual recovery should be built into your regular periods of time, weeks, months, so and so on. It has taken me years to realize that I don't need to feel guilty about recovery. Something that I've built into my weeks more frequently, mainly since the summit, is like an hour, 30 to 60 minutes of recovery a day. And that recovery could be anything from like sitting on my bed reading, or like going for a walk, or sitting in the sun, or meditation, or EFT, or journaling, or just honestly anything that has nothing to do with work and that actually makes me feel like I'm refilling my cup. And I guess even zooming out a bit more, like the world is completely obsessed with output, and we do glorify the grind, and then we act surprised when we burn out. But of course, like if you never stop to recover, you're not just being consistent. Consistency is great, but like you're being careless with your energy. So recovery is part of productivity. It's not productivity's enemy. It is literally productivity's support girl. It's hype girly. So like sure, you can be super ambitious and excited and want to work your ass off to your goals, and I get that. But this is something where building this in regularly is not just allowing you to benefit from rest. We all know the importance of like rest and recovery, and I'm not going to even give that spiel, but it's also reaffirming in your mind that you have the right to rest and that there's no need to be guilty about it. The amount of clients I've had in the past few months who have said, "Oh, I didn't have a productive day. I feel so bad." Or like, I just feel really guilty because I set this thing as my win for this week, or like my target for this week, and I didn't get it done because I was sick, or like this other life thing came up, or like my kid was sick and I had to take care of that, or this urgent work thing happened and I couldn't, whatever. And then because they didn't reach their ideal of like a productive week or a productive day, they feel heavily guilty about themselves. You are never falling behind when you're resting. You're actually just charging up to leap forward. If any of us tried to like not plug our phones in, we would not expect them to just work constantly. Like it's just gonna die at some point. Not that you're gonna die if you don't rest during the day, but like you know, everything, like we can't just expect ourselves to keep going, keep going. You are not a machine. You are literally a human being. And, be that flaw as it may, we got to deal with human stuff like getting enough sleep and taking care of ourselves and like not working 17-hour days. So, yeah. Or you know what? Even 12-hour days, even 10-hour days. I I mean, you know where I stand. I don't want us to be working long ass days. I just don't feel it's necessary. So, um if you are hearing this and you're like, okay, so got it. I'm going to do a recovery day once a month where it's like a full day off. Here are some ideas because you probably don't want to do this and just lie on the couch all day because it's also probably not going to pour back into you that much. Um it's about intentional like restoration. So it might be that you book into a spa and you do like some sauna sessions or like cold plunge and stuff like that. You might have a long bath. You might do some skincare and journaling and give yourself some fresh sheets. Or maybe you don't have an alarm in the morning. That's a biggie. It might be that you actually cook a nice cozy breakfast and you bring it to bed, or you actually sit down to eat it rather than just like throwing something in your mouth and running out the door. It could be some gentle movement like stretching, yoga, slow walks, foam rolling, even if you are someone who does like Pilates or weightlifting or anything like that. Reading, watching something purely for pleasure, lightly cleaning your space, like not productive cleaning, but just like resetting your energy. It might be that you need a nap. It might be that you catch up with a friend who really recharges you. You could journal, you could meditate, you could do some EFT, you could vision board on your next season if it feels fun. Honestly, the more of an intense reaction you have to me talking about how important rest and recovery is, the more likely it is that you need it. So if you feel really uncomfortable with this conversation and you're like, yeah, I'm going to skip this one, you're the one it's for. Okay? You might feel the urge to sneak in some work. That is just your nervous system still learning that your safety doesn't come from constant doing. If you feel restless or if you feel guilty from resting, that is exactly why you need to rest. Because you need to just be okay with being a human. It's also a practice of self-trust. Like, I trust that nothing is falling apart when I pause and I pour back into myself. So, I want to go have a recovery day now, actually. So, I suppose, final note on this, do make sure that it is what fills up your cup rather than things that numb you or like that are escapism-y. Like you don't want to be doing 4 hours of scrolling on TikTok, it's probably not going to recover you that well. But reading, napping, gently walking, stretching, stuff like that, that's real like regulation. Okay. So the reason I've given you 4 themed days to build into your month is because I could be over here saying you should create systems, you should spend time with your passions, you should do life admin, yada yada yada. But if it doesn't exist on your calendar, it literally doesn't exist. And I don't know about you, but I am the kind of person where even if I decide to protect a certain day where I don't plan on working, if it comes to that day, it'll probably just trickle away unless I bring that intentional time to it. Like, I will be the person who probably has an accidental 3 hours of TikTok screen time. I'll just be like floating around waiting for inspiration. But actually, we can only make use of the time when we assign it to something beforehand. And like, I took a morning off this week on Wednesday. I just took the full morning off. I had calls from like 2 in the afternoon onwards. But I did just stay in bed. And while that was nice initially, my energy was just low all day. And I was like, what do you mean I have calls now? Now I just want to continue to be in bed. So like, yeah, learned my lesson on that one. But a lot of people think that productivity is only work related. But what if productivity is you building everything into your life that will enhance it, that will make it more fulfilling, that will make it a full life overall, and not just like checking everything off here on this to do list, like, so with that, I hope you have a wonderful week. I will chat to you next Wednesday. And mwah, love you. Bye. All right, gorgeous. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at More to Life Kate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.